Episode 4 Why Life is Not Changed by Talent. Hello, this is Dr. Yoshi. Thank you for coming back to Rewire Lab today. If right now you're listening to this voice while doing something else, just for a brief moment, take a deep breath and let your shoulders relax a little. This is not a place to fix yourself. It's not a place to push harder. This is a space to let your nervous system rest and to think again. Recap of Episode 3. Before we go further, let's briefly anchor what we explored last time. Much of life is driven by reaction, not willpower. Those reactions are wired through past emotion and learning. This is not a flaw, it's a survival-based design. And change does not begin with effort. It begins with awareness. That was Episode 3. Opening the question. Now today, we turn to a belief that shapes how many people live. The belief that life is changed by talent. But what if that's not true? If talent were the deciding factor, then similar talent would lead to similar lives. And yet, people with comparable intelligence, education, and opportunity often end up on completely different trajectories. So the real question is, why do such large differences appear between lives? We often point to the environment we were born into, education, luck, innate traits. And yes, all of these matter. But from a neuroscientific perspective, these are initial conditions, not determinants. The decisive difference emerges in a much fundamental place. It is what the brain is doing at the exact moment a thought arises. What happens before you decide? Most people say, I'll act once my thinking is clear, when I know the right answer, when I'm sure I won't fail, when the anxiety disappears. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. But let's pause here. During that waiting period, what is actually happening inside the brain? From neuroscience, we know this. The moment a thought enters awareness, evaluation has already begun. When a stimulus appears before rational analysis in the cortex, the amygdala responds. This is what Joseph Ledoux called the fast emotional pathway. It asks instantly, is this dangerous? Will I be rejected? Will I lose social standing? This happens faster than conscious thought, before language even forms. You don't decide to feel this. Your nervous system is simply doing what it learned to do, to keep you alive. The brain's priority. Immediately after that, the prefrontal cortex engages with one objective: to find the safest option with the least potential loss. This isn't irrational. The brain is not designed to prioritize correctness. It prioritizes survival probability. As Daniel Kahneman demonstrated, human decision-making is fast, emotional, and deeply biased toward loss avoidance. So what happens? Action slows down. Not because you're weak, not because you lack discipline, but because your brain is doing its job. A different pattern. Now here's something important. People who consistently change their lives show a different pattern. not superior judgment, not extraordinary confidence. They test quickly. They adjust quickly. They are not searching for the right answer. They form a hypothesis. They act. They update. This mirrors how the brain itself learns. Learning does not occur through thinking alone. It happens through action to feedback to circuit update. This is dopamine-based prediction error learning. The brain updates its wiring when reality contradicts expectation. So, action is not a display of talent. It is data input for the nervous system. Why hesitation feels logical. If you hesitate, there's a reason. Hesitation feels responsible. It feels intelligent. But there's a hidden limitation. Mental simulation, imagining outcomes, can only occur within existing neural circuits. Which means you can only imagine futures your current wiring already allows. That's not imagination. That's repetition. People who act early touch reality. Reality violates prediction, creates error, destabilizes old circuits. And that error is precisely what triggers neuroplasticity. This aligns with Carl Friston's free energy principle. What actually separates lives? So what truly separates lives? Not talent, not willpower. It's timing. When does your brain receive feedback from reality? Life differences are not talent gaps. They are differences in neural delay time between thought and first action. And this delay can be shortened. Not through pressure, not through forcing courage, but through awareness and nervous system regulation. Talent shifts the starting line slightly, but what truly moves a life is how often and how safely the brain engages reality. Once you see this, life stops being a thinking game and becomes a process of rewiring neural circuits. And that process is open to everyone with a human brain. Episode 4. Summary. Before we close, let's summarize today. Life is not moved forward by talent. What creates difference is not intelligence, confidence, or willpower. It is timing. Specifically, how long the brain waits between a thought and the first contact with reality. Most hesitation is not weakness. It is a healthy brain prioritizing safety. But the brain does not learn by thinking longer. It learns when prediction meets reality. Action is not proof of talent. Action is data. And people who change their lives are not braver. They simply allow the brain to receive feedback sooner. That's all. Coming up next, why start now matters. In the next episode, we explore something subtle but incredibly powerful. The brain has a switch between pleasure and discomfort. And by design, it almost always chooses what feels familiar, not what is best, not what is aligned. but what it already knows. New actions, even ideal ones, feel foreign to the nervous system, which is why starting later often feels more comfortable than starting now. In the next episode, we'll uncover why the brain confuses familiarity with safety, how comfort can quietly stall growth, and what actually happens neurologically the moment you begin before motivation appears. This is not about pushing. It's about understanding why the brain resists beginnings and how to start without fighting yourself. If today's episode allowed your breathing to deepen even slightly, that is more than enough. In this space, we value depth over speed. So please, before you leave here, take a moment to settle your breathing. I'll see you in the next episode. This was Dr. Yoshi. Until next time, change and rewire your brain. Change your life.